At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Pearl Messina's, owner and founder of Gifted Back. Hello, Pearl.
Hi, Wanda. Thank you. Can you
Oh,
see?
I can. I can see your desktop.
Okay, great. So hello, everyone, and thank you to Wanda for extending an invitation to our team today to present the Real Talk with blind, visually impaired athletes. I also want to extend a warm welcome to our friends in India, Bhumika Patel, Shubham Singnath, and Vijay Kasival. It's quite early there, so it's 6:30 p.m. here. India is half a day early, so it's half a day late. I'm sorry. So it is almost 7 o'clock in the morning there. So thank you to the India team who made the time to be here first thing in the morning. So how we'll spend the time today is I'll do a quick welcome, tell you a little bit more about who I am, Gifted Back, a little bit more about what brought us here. Now, the advertisement that you've registered for originally included Blake Steinecke with the USA Blind Hockey Team. There was a last minute change, and so we will have Blake on at another time. But today's discussion will be focused on our friends in India. So you'll get a chance to learn more about our blind and visually impaired athletes there. You'll also get a chance to meet the panel, and we'll spend the majority of the time interviewing the athletes and having you ask questions of the athletes in addition to some of the ones that we have on our own. So a little bit more about me and who I am. So when Wanda did mention that I am the owner and founder of Gifted Back, BACK actually stands for Blind Artists, Crafters, and Knitters. This is an e-commerce that was just launched this month with products that are exclusively made by the blind and visually impaired. So if you were to go to giftedback.com, all of the products that you see on there are made by folks that are blind and visually impaired, some of them who you may know. Now, in terms of how we got here, my husband Ishwar, who you'll meet in a moment, we actually made a trip to India back in 2017 to visit his parents. And it was on that journey that we met Bhumika Patel, who again, you'll meet in a moment. Were it not for Bhumika, I was just sharing this with everyone earlier as we were preparing. Were it not for our meeting with Bhumika, the concept of Gifted Back would have never been, and this presentation probably would have never occurred were it not for our meeting Bhumika 4 years ago. So Bhumika has been instrumental with our work with the blind and visually impaired. And so the journey with the blind and visually impaired, as I mentioned, dated back to 2017. And although we are here in the USA, we are very well connected to our friends in India. Ishwar, for example, was actually in India. He just returned about 2 weeks ago, but he was there for 8 weeks and working intimately with the guide runners and other athletes there. So that's a little history of how we got here. Now, before you meet the panelists, I thought it would be interesting to go over some global statistics. When I was talking to Wanda about this session, you know, there's power in having the two worlds, the US and India, meet and actually share knowledge and collaborate when it comes to the blind and visually impaired community. And I thought that before we jumped into the discussion, to put some context around the number of blind and visually impaired individuals in India, in the US, and worldwide. So to give you a sense, in India, there are 28 million visually impaired individuals. They actually represent 20% of blind and visually impaired individuals in the world. 20% of that is in India. In terms of the number of people that are blind or can't see at all, loss of sight, they have 12 million in India. Compared to what we have in the US, the numbers are still high, but quite lower. So in the US, there's about 3 to 4 million visually impaired individuals compared to 1.2 million that are blind. And if you look at the worldwide numbers, there are about 290 plus million visually impaired and about 45 to 55 million blind individuals. Now, those numbers are expected to increase over time. So the number of visually impaired individuals are expected to triple by 2050, and the number of blind individuals are expected to double by 2050 as well. Okay, so now let's take a moment to meet the panel. As mentioned, Bhumika Patel is our biggest influence, and this would not be possible were it not for our meeting her. So I'll actually take a moment to introduce Bhumika, Khushbu, and Ishwar Kapoor. But first, Bhumika, Bhumika has approximately 20 years of work experience in the global IT sector, utilizing her MBA education with multinational companies like IBM. She is an avid runner, and she's been running since 2009 and has many marathons under her belt, including New York, Tokyo, London, and Boston. She is the founder and lead trainer for Guide Runners of India, an initiative that has empowered hundreds of blind and visually impaired individuals across India. Next on the panel, she actually is not here today, but we also wanted to take a moment to recognize her, is Khushbu Bajaj. And Khushbu is a nutritionist who is the founder of a nutrition and wellness company by the name of My Pashan. She is an accomplished triathlete and long distance runner. She is on the executive committee in Guide Runners of India, working closely with Bhumika. And the last person on the panel is Dr. Ishwar Kapoor. He will actually be leading the discussion with the two blind athletes today, who you'll meet in a moment. Dr. Ishwar Kapoor is a full-time member of the orthopedic department at Kaiser Permanente. He is fellowship trained and certified in sports and musculoskeletal medicine with experience in primary care. He was born in Philadelphia and spent most of his childhood on the East Coast. He chose medicine because many of his family members are doctors, and he has also participated in several sports at an elite level. Like Bhumika, he's also an avid runner and has ran varsity cross country and track and field for the University of Virginia. He runs plenty today too. On average, I would say Ishwar probably puts in 30 miles a week, and he does that effortlessly. So that is the panel that you'll be meeting today. And let me take a second before we dive into the interviews to actually introduce you to the athletes as well. The first athlete, and I want to extend a special thank you to Shubham. Shubham has done a similar talk with us in the past. He did the first talk that we did alongside Blake Steinecke. And Shubham Singnath is a student and full-time para-athlete from Maharashtra, India. He's focused on sprinting events, especially the popular 100-meter race distance. He is a current national Indian para-athletic champion at the 100 and 200 meters and is in the process of qualifying for international competition. So Shubham is an accomplished athlete. You'll meet more about him in a moment. The next athlete is Vijay Kasaval. We wanted to give the groups more of a holistic view so you can meet someone that's experienced and also someone that is starting running for the first time in case you are thinking about doing the same. And Vijay is from Bangalore, which is where Ishwar's family is from. He's 37 years old and he is visually challenged. He's a banker by profession. He loves to push his limits and do exciting and adventurous activities. Some of his other hobbies include trekking, tandem cycling, swimming, and running. He enjoys learning and improving every day. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Ishwar, and he'll start with our interview. So Ishwar?
Okay, so let's start with asking a few general questions for our two athletes. Everybody would like to know how you guys got started running. Shubham?
Yes, sir.
Yes, how did you get started running, Shubham?
Actually, I was already from background. I have a background of a sports. When I was in the school, I was playing a freestyle fighting. When I was in the 6th class at that time. Then after some years, I was state medalist in the freestyle fighting. Then we have some medical rules in this event. They said every freestyle fighter should be medically fit. So that time my freestyle fighting career stopped there. Then I started college and I was thinking about what I can do next right now. So after this, some of college friends are runners that time. So I was start playing for college games and university games that time, and I started running with my friends.
I see. And so, should we just take this one and move to Vijay?
You can go back and forth.
Okay. Hey, Vijay, how about you? How did you get started running? It sounds like, I remember we'd spoken before and you'd already been doing some treadmill running and now you're running outside.
Yes.
Can you
Yes, yes.
describe how you got interested in running?
So basically, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, doctor. So basically, I have a progressive degradation of my vision. So initially, in my early years of life, I could see basically. So actually, I have a condition called retinitis pigmentosa. So then I used to normally run as a sighted person. But since I had this progressive degeneration, so with time I couldn't do the outdoor activities. So, but still I had a craving to do all the outdoor physical activities. So only one substitute I could find was running on a treadmill, wherein I could run, but at indoor conditions. So, but still I had a urge to run outside. But since of vision of loss of vision, I couldn't run outside. But recently I got introduced to Guide Runners India, which is by Dr. Bhumika Patel, where in a group there was an invite wherein people who are interested to run can join a Sunday training event wherein even you were a part of it. So that was when I came for outdoor running, and it was a very good experience, and I'm pursuing it and continuing for as of now. That's it, doctor.
And so, Vijay, and currently we just had you started at training outside, and what are you training for currently right now?
Yeah, currently there's a 10-kilometer run on 24th October, so I'm aiming for it. Yeah.
Will this be your first race?
Yes, doctor. In running, this will be my first race.
Oh, that's exciting. And then how about Shubham?
Yes.
What are you training for right now currently?
Oh, please open your mic.
Okay.
There was
right now
extra.
You can hear me?
We can hear you fine. There was extra sound coming, so I did mute your mic, so I apologize.
No problem.
You're good now.
Yeah, Shubham, what are you training for currently?
Right now I'm training for university games.
And so that means, Shubham, that you're actually going to be training to race with people who can see normally. Is that correct?
Yeah, is that correct?
I see.
Yeah, it's correct.
So that's very interesting. Can you describe what your vision is like? Do we have his okay. Describe your vision, Shubham.
If I need to describe my vision in very understanding language.
Ah,
So it's like you are playing a video on a big screen in 3GP quality. It's easy to understand everyone.
I see. So it seems to me that how you described this is sort of, you see things kind of in a blurry way. Is that right? You can't make
Blurry
out.
way. Yeah,
I
yeah.
see.
I can recognize the things,
Ah,
but not clearly.
I see. I see.
I can understand it's a table, but it's something written on the table, but I can read it.
I see. And then Vijay, you had mentioned that you have some progressive vision loss. Can we put the camera?
Yes.
Can you describe how you see it currently? I believe that what you told me is that you can see mostly light. You have some light and dark perception.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it, doctor. Not beyond it.
I see. So you can see shadows basically. Is that right? When there's light?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I can show actually an example of what that would look like for the people that are sighted. Can you show it? If you can see this, I'm not sure. But that's how, if you can see our video feed, that's what Vijay, that's how Vijay sees. Okay, so can you guys describe now Shubham is a student in a university currently, and Vijay works as a banker. I think everybody would kind of like to know, especially from the perspective of living in India, what your day is like. So can you run through, let's start with Vijay. Vijay, can you run through a day from beginning to end about, what you do in the morning? So tell me, what time do you usually wake up in the morning?
Around 5:30 to 6, doctor.
And then what do you do when you get up?
Usually I have a casual, I go for a 1 hour walk
Mm-hmm.
with my wife. And then once I'm back, usually it's quite a busy day only. I go to work. So I get ready. I leave my house by around 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to travel to work and I'll be there up to evening 6 o'clock, come back. Then usually evening, again, I have a small stroll in a park nearby. Then that's what weekends I just hang out with friends, but weekdays is quite a monotonous work only. And I go to bed around 10 o'clock.
I see. And then how do you get to work?
I have a bike taxi, point to point. He comes and picks me regularly and drops me back home.
I see. And then Shubham, you have your classes at your university, but describe to us in the morning. You usually do your trainings in the morning, is that correct?
Yes.
And what time do you wake up, Shubham?
I wake up at 4 a.m. every day.
And then you get ready?
Then I get myself ready for a run, and then I was leave house at 5:15 to reach my ground, because my practice session was 5:45 that time.
So then go ahead.
Then I go with my friends. We have some old friends. They also athlete. They are also training for a university game.
And so
I can go.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So
then after.
Sorry, Shubham, go ahead. I'll let you talk.
Yeah, tell me. Please tell me.
No, so your training session is from what time to what time?
Sometimes it's 5:45 to 8.
That's AM, not PM, right? So
yeah,
so that, I think for us in America, we're not used to that kind of training schedule. For both Vijay and Shubham, you can see they're early risers. They get their exercise done before most people wake up. And so you get a ride from your university friends, is that right, to your practice training grounds?
Yeah, I'm practicing with all the university athletes.
And how long does it take you to get to practice in the morning?
Hello.
Yes, the drive takes how long, Shubham?
It's taking 2 hours.
I see. Yeah,
That's a drive.
To get to practice, to drive there, it takes how long?
It's taking more than 25 minutes.
I see. So just a quick to describe the difference between Shubham and Vijay. Shubham is a 100-meter runner. That takes around 12 seconds to run 100 meters, whereas Vijay is training for a 10K, which is 6-mile distance. So Vijay is a long distance runner and Shubham is a sprinter. Can you guys describe what you guys eat in the morning before or after your training? Let's start with Shubham.
At morning, I just take a cup of coffee, and after eat 1 or 2 banana. Then I'm going for my practice.
And then after practice, you also will refuel, right? Can you give us an example of the kind of food you eat?
After a practice, I immediately drink the protein drink.
I see. How about Vijay? What does your breakfast look like?
Breakfast as of now, pre and post training, it's only I'm just having natural fruits, nothing. I'm not having any protein supplements as of now, since I've not started still vigorous training. So other than that, my regular breakfast includes some, the basic Indian breakfast only, like idli, dosas, or puri, something like that. Yeah.
So Dr. Bhumika
Yes.
here, just to add to this point that for the performance athletes in the Guide Runners India team, we have a tie-up with a nutrition partner, and they provide sports nutrition products like the whey protein and the energy drink and recovery drinks, and those are provided to athletes like Shubham and any other athletes like Vijay, who also are very enthusiastic about running in local events. So that facility is available for the athletes.
I see. And so, in terms of your training or just even your general accomplishments, Vijay, what do you feel like is your best or your most proud accomplishment?
Till date, running I'm just starting now, but I'm open water sea swimmer. So I swam for a non-stop 2-kilometer stretch in Goa just 2 years back.
I see.
Wow.
Wow, that's awesome. And then how about Shubham? I know it was exciting to become the national champion at your sprint distances. Any other accomplishments that you're especially proud of, Shubham?
Hello.
Yes.
Can you please repeat the question?
Oh yeah, Shubham. I know that you're very proud of your accomplishment as a national champion sprinter. Are there any other accomplishments that you're especially proud of?
Yeah, actually, I was very dedicated with my fitness, physique. So in future, I was trying to be play as a physique championship also.
In bodybuilding.
Yeah, man's physique. Actually, bodybuilding is another sport, and man's physique is something else.
Yeah, physique competition. I get it.
Yeah.
And then, what are your ultimate goals, Shubham, in running? What is your goal that you're aspiring to long term?
Actually, I'm planning for being a world record holder in Paralympic.
Oh, that's excellent. And then how about Vijay? Oh, go ahead, Shubham.
And then next goal is being a national champion in the normal games.
Wow, that's a wonderful goal. And as you can see, that's very interesting. That's and I think I'll ask Bhumika about that in a second. What about Vijay? Do you have any specific goals in running eventually, Vijay? I know that the 6 miles is a big event.
Yes, yeah. Ultimately, I want to do full marathon, doctor. That's a long term, but that's my aim actually.
I see.
Full marathons. Yeah.
So full marathon is 26 miles in distance, just for anybody that's not aware.
42, I think, no, doctor. 42, right?
Oh, sorry, it's 42 kilometers, correct, which is 26 miles. Yes, correct. Yeah, yes. Thank you. And so, Bhumika, can you comment on? We just heard about Shubham and the inclusive nature of his training. He's running amongst the sighted, and Vijay will be participating in an event alongside sighted runners as well. Can you kind of describe your experiences, Bhumika, with guide runners and how you've made running inclusive and empowering for the athletes, for the individuals that are blind and visually impaired?
Yeah, In India, the concept of running with visually impaired as a guide runner, the concept was quite new, and people were not aware of the fact that this is something that there are so many blind athletes who are there in India and who want to run. So that kind of running was introduced like about 5 6 years back by when I went to a running event, and there were blind athletes who were participating, but they were in the shortest distance, which was the 3 kilometers, and the guide runners were there to assist them. The awareness about this kind of a category was very less at that point, and the fact that these there are so many in numbers, and there need to be some kind of a continuity that has to be given to these athletes is what was the first thing that struck me. So I started creating awareness programs, workshops for the guide runners separately, for the visually impaired athletes separately, to sensitize them that there is a category of athletes who are like this, who are vision impaired, and the different levels of vision. And so, Doctor, thank you for helping me with that awareness sessions where you helped educate about this that they are partially impaired athletes, they are completely blind, and what are the different levels of running they do. So that awareness was kind of not there, and so we try to create that. And in the races now, in the big marathons which happen in India, we speak to the organizers and we sensitize them that these athletes also need to be doing all the distances, not just the 3 kilometers, which is the shortest, but they should be given an opportunity to run the full marathon. They should be given an opportunity to do the ultra marathon running, and they need continuity. And so we need volunteers for this, and so they are very supportive. And so we have this Bangalore Marathon, which we have done the 42 kilometers in 2019. And I ran the Boston Marathon in 2019 as well. So that was quite a learning experience for me to know how the athletes in the other countries, what is their uh, perspective towards this kind of a vision impaired runner and a guide runner being in with them along with the regular athletes in a race. So I found that there was a very well organized team of people supporting the blind runners who were running in the marathons. So similarly, we wanted to implement in India this kind of organized participation and sensitization of other runners who are going to run. So that's where we have been doing a lot of online education during the COVID times, and now slowly things are opening up, and we are meeting on the ground and doing workshops and trainings as well.
So it's one key that we didn't really touch upon is that Vijay is in Bangalore, where Bhumika lives, and so I also have been training personally with Vijay and with Bhumika, but Shubham is actually 600 miles away. So despite COVID, we've actually been able to strengthen our connections through online, through phone and video calls. And so we've been able to maintain our communication that way. And our network has spread throughout India. And even Khushbu, who helps us with nutrition, she's almost 1,000 miles away from us in India, so from Bhumika. And so it's a nationwide network that's connected by our technology, which has been strengthened through COVID. So now that COVID's starting to become less of an issue, now we can even become stronger as we have personal connections and training one-to-one on site. So why don't we check in with our audience now? I'm sure they have plenty of questions to ask the athletes and also Bhumika. Does anybody have any questions they would like to ask the athletes and panel?
So if you have a question and you're in the app, you can raise your hand and we'll take the question in order of the hand. Otherwise, you can write in the chat if you have access to that. Or if you're just on a phone, you may go ahead and ask your question. And if someone else starts out to speak, we just ask that you will just heed to the person who began first, and we'll be able to ask questions. So go right ahead. This is an opportunity. We've had a lot of really great information that we've heard about these athletes and their schedules and their commitment, and all the training is really incredible. While I'm speaking, I have one question myself, and that is wondering about what advice you may have to offer a visually impaired young person, you know, who has aspirations in athletics, whether it's running or soccer or hockey or whatever the case may be. Would anyone care to respond?
Why don't we start with Shubham? Shubham, tell us, for someone who wants to start running, any advice?
If I need to say anything about the advice, if you are starting with if you are preparing for something big that time, if you think you want to play national, but don't start with the practice of a national. Just divide it in the small goals. At least if you are when I'm starting running, I don't put myself in directly for preparing for the national. I just divided it in just like I can run in a 14 second starting, then I have target for 13 second, then I have target for the 12 second. You just need to divide, then it will easy to achieve your goal.
Yes, very good. That's
Thank
kind
you.
of a good example of that is Vijay, who's starting his 10K run. That's
Yes,
6 miles,
yes.
on his way to get to 26 miles. How about you, Vijay? Any advice for people?
Yes. Yeah, I'd like to add is, yeah, since we are visually impaired, we always need a runner with us. So with our dedication, we need to find a person. So we have to build a social circle, get people, have people around us who can partner with us in our all the trainings, everything. Because basically, whatever we need, we cannot do without them. So we need to find a suitable partner, so which will help us in a long run. So I'd like to add that to this basically.
And Bhumika, can you sort of talk about what people can do if they don't yet have a partner or a social circle? How can they get started with exercise towards walking and running?
Yeah, so this challenge we did face during the pandemic, that even if people were available, it was social distancing which was needed to be done between the guide and the visually impaired athlete. So we came out with this online program where a buddy is assigned, a phone buddy is assigned to a vision impaired athlete, or a coach is assigned online, and they do the video call or an online call, and you know, they do the fitness assessment which Dr. Ishwar has helped us come out with. So we do a assessment of the current fitness level, and then we do suggest exercises to be done based on the current fitness level. So there is a compilation of exercises for the beginners, for the intermediate and the advanced level, and that is available in an audio or video format, and even online. If you see, there are many available, but they may not be accessible enough, or you know, having the audio feature which is very describes the exercise very well. So our team has come out with some local language versions of, like, the Indian languages like Telugu, like Kannada and Hindi, and different audio features available in the along with the video. And so even if we are at home and the guide is not accessible, and for example, the athlete is from a remote village in India, and for him to come to a city to where the guides are available or some runners are available, it's quite a challenge. So the exercises are given such that they are able to do it at home in a safe place. with their parents or with the sufficient support. Like for example, you could use a chair, you could use a wall for support, and it should be a safe place. So those kind of options are available to do on your own.
Yes, very good. And it's, for people who may be afraid to exercise, these two athletes are very inspirational. But if you don't know where to start, it's as easy as just sitting in your living room and you sit down and you can do seated marches, walk in place for 5 or 10 minutes, those kinds of things. And actually, Bhumika has some experience with this. There's a group across the US, a network called United in Stride. So it's www.unitedinstride.com. And they provide guides for people who are visually impaired who would like to walk or run. So you can look that up if you're interested to participate. You should always get clearance from your doctor to make sure it's safe for you to exercise. Otherwise, you can look up that website to try to join up with a guide that can help visually impaired and blind athletes get started with walking or running. Let's see, we have a question, looks like from Xavier. Go ahead, Xavier. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, it may take a couple seconds for your microphone to...
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh.
I have a quick question, and that is, what is a common technique for like a blind person to be able to run themselves? Because, well, if you don't know where you are, it's kind of dangerous to run.
Good question. Bhumika, do you want some of the methods to
So one of the options is the voice echoing. So one option is that we take a safe place, like one stretch of a road which is not having any potholes and speed breakers and like too much of obstacles on it. It's a safe place of, for example, a 500-meter stretch where you know that this stretch is straight and there is no such obstacle on it, and so we can keep looping on it. And we keep the nutrition and the hydration on one corner of your stretch, and you are going to loop around it. And so for example, you want to do a 5 kilometers, so you're going to loop that 1 kilometer stretch 5 times. So that's one of the options. So using an audio facility on the app, like Runtastic or an app which is available in your area, you can use an app for running and turn on the audio feature in it. So the app will also guide you that turn right, turn left, but you don't want to do that. So better to do with go with a stretch which is safe and loop on it, or a treadmill.
So for most, oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah. For most people, they will need to have a spotter or a guide. Bhumika trains the guides to either use a tether that each the guide and the runner hold on to help the runner stay on track. Or you can, if for people that are not as comfortable, they need a little bit more guidance, then we can go arm in arm, hand in hand, hand to elbow, things like that. And then for people who don't have a guide yet, then they can choose, like if they have a yard at home or a safe stretch in their house, they can walk back and forth in the safe confines of their home or their yard. And so those are other ways that they can start their training. Sydney, do you have a question?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say congratulations to the athletes on here. I mean, I think that's really cool. I would have never imagined that a person that has a vision impairment would be able to be able to play like games in the athletic field. So I want to say congratulations. But and this is a really nice gift to be on an interview like this with athletes. One of my questions is, what about like playing games that involve like a ball? Because like when I used to be in school, I tried to play certain games, but I guess I was told because I couldn't see as well that it could be more dangerous or I may not be able to do as good. So how do people overcome that barrier of like blindness? And because like I feel like this kind of challenges that perspective of, oh, a person can't see as well, so of course they can't play as well. Like, I'm wondering how can people play like games that involve a ball and be good at it and it not be as dangerous?
So I don't know if either Shubham or Vijay has had some experience with ball type sports. What I'll tell you is that there are actually. Oh, go
I
ahead.
play the
Shubham.
football also. I play the
Oh,
football also when I was in my childhood.
Yeah. Did you say football?
It's
Yeah,
soccer.
Soccer.
it's a
Okay,
soccer.
soccer.
It's soccer.
Okay.
I played this soccer when in my childhood because we have a front of my house. That time we have a farm, so it was a very open space.
And so, so Sydney, actually, there are leagues around the country where ball sports, like even something like softball or soccer, the ball will have a beeping sound, and so the ball will beep throughout the competition. You can actually hear the ball coming at you or going away from you. And so that's one way that you can participate in a sport, anything from tennis to soccer to softball. Did you know that?
Even cricket. Yeah, even cricket. I've seen. Yeah.
Even cricket also have a sound of a ball.
Yes, cricket as well. Go ahead, Sydney.
So we did play one game when I was like in the youth of Braille Institute that had a beeping ball, but I didn't know that there's a beeping ball. There could be a beeping ball in every sport. And like, even if a person can hear a ball beeping, like if it's coming at them really, really fast, how would they have enough time to move out of the way and not run into somebody else?
Well, the answer is, yeah, that's it. That's an occupational hazard. You're right.
And that happens sometimes.
Yeah,
that actually happens sometimes.
But you know what though? That happens to people that are sighted too, Sydney. And so, you know, it's some sports are a little bit faster moving, but the one benefit for in the VI community is sometimes the sport will move a little bit slower and a little bit more manageable. And so, and there are different types of leagues from beginner to advanced. So people that are just starting out, the game will definitely move more methodically. So it might be something you look into.
Yeah, I've thought about it many times. It sounds very interesting. If there's a way, I definitely would like to try it out.
Maybe we'll look into it for you.
Oh, I think there's another comment. Go ahead.
Actually, I was started playing with when I was childhood. I was continuously playing with a normal player. When I was playing soccer with the normal guys, I was playing. Sometimes I have some better vision, not very better. In childhood, I have a better vision, so I'm playing also cricket with the normal guys. So that time, sometimes I can't see the ball, so it's hit on my face. It's something happens. If you play the sport, you need to understand you have always a risk. It's not about your visual impaired. If you are normal, if still you have a risk.
Yeah, that's true. Sighted or not, Sydney. But Sydney, you know what? We'll look into it for you to try to see if we can find a league for you or some sort of like practice session or something.
Thanks. And what was the name of that organization that one woman has? Some kind of guidance for something in India.
In India, it's guiderunnersindia.in.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you, Sydney.
Welcome.
That's great. I'm proud of you guys. So whatever you guys do. Yes.
Thank you, Fabian. I was just going to say, Pearl, the websites that were mentioned, if you would email those to me, then I can share that information with others that are in the session this evening.
Yes, Wanda, I'll do just that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we looks like we have time for a couple more questions. So I'd like to, everybody would like to know, so sports are one thing, and I have my own sort of feeling about how sports has impacted my life, but I'd like to hear, especially for Shubham and Vijay and even Bhumika, to maybe kind of let us know how athletics has helped in their life, especially being blind or visually impaired. Shubham, we'll start with you.
Actually, when you are playing a sport, actually, lot of time visual impaired peoples are locked up themselves in their homes. They don't have courage to face people. When you are entered in your sports and then you started playing, you build up that courage to face people and understand your abilities.
Yes, that's true. How about Vijay? What would you say? You've transitioned from your indoor running to outdoor, and so
Yes.
how do you feel about how? And I think Gloria also started exercising more. It seems like
Yes.
she was even running a bit. So how would you
Yes.
say that athletics
Yeah.
has helped in your life and how you see things?
Yeah. Yeah. It helps us to build a social circle. Meeting new people, going to places makes us feel better. And finally, with athletics, yeah, we feel physically, emotionally, mentally, everything we are fit, and it improves us. It makes us feel better. And once we feel better, we can make all the people around us feel better. At the end of the day, it's a good thing in all ways.
That's very insightful, Vijay. Thank you.
Yes.
And Bhumika, any comments about how you feel about the health and wellness aspect of guide runners in impacting the blind and visually impaired community?
So I feel that we, with the help of Guide Runners India, I have been able to put together a large pool of volunteers who are from the corporates, from the businesses, from homemakers and everybody. So it's like a mutually beneficial initiative where everybody wants to come and help the community, and in turn, by helping the others, by showing kindness to others, they are themselves benefiting by maximizing their personal growth. So I myself started running at the age of 35. I started doing full marathons. So I have seen that there is so much of personal growth in all areas of my life. So I feel that everybody who joins this initiative where there's so much of kindness to the community, they all have seen benefits in all areas of their life. So yeah, I hope that this continues.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. And so I guess as a sort of a send off, Vijay, is there anything
Yes.
that you'd like to share with the group about any last words of advice?
Yes. Yeah. When you aspire for something, there will be challenges in life for anything and everything. So we should have the courage and the dedication and focus on it and find there's nothing that is impossible. We have to find a means for it and work towards it, and our dedication will surely help us to achieve it someday, though not immediately. We have to work towards it and not give up.
Thank you, Vijay. That's very nice. And how about Shubham? Any words of advice for people that are thinking about exercising or being healthier with through physical activity?
Can I please repeat the question, sir?
Oh yeah, Shubham. Any advice for the group?
Yeah. Actually, any advice to the group? If you The advice is only if you start something, so sometime it's take you to the failure, but that doesn't mean you can't be the successful. It takes time, and you need to be patient and do your hard work continuously, and you will be succeed one day. But you just need to be patient that time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shubham. That's excellent. So we'll let Pearl have some final words for the group.
Hello, everyone. It's Pearl again. So we're actually at the end of the interview, and I wanted to extend another thank you to our friends in India, Bhumika, Shubham, and Vijay. Thank you for taking the time so early in your day to join us. I also want to extend a thank you to Dr. Ishwar Kapoor for leading the interview. And then lastly, I want to thank everybody on the call that joined us and spending time with us and settling in your day means a lot. And I hope that you enjoyed this call as much as we did. You know, not many people can say that they're part of an international group that's made up of blind and visually impaired individuals. Before I give it back to Wanda, I had talked a little bit about Gifted before. Please take a moment to check out giftedback.com. It's the first e-commerce platform that has goods specifically made by blind and visually impaired. And just like this call, how we're connecting the US with India, right now the goods on Gifted Back are made by local folks here in San Diego. But over time, we're hoping to bridge that and also include goods made from our friends over in India. So with that, I am going to, I also thank you to Braille for including us in this session, and another thank you to Guide Runners of India. So with that, I'm going to pass it back to you, Wanda.
Okay, this was awesome. We have completely enjoyed visiting with the runners from India, and it feels like you're right here. This was great information, very inspiring, and we are looking forward to yet another session. I think that we're going to have one of the other presenters who was not here this evening, Blake, to visit with us in the near future. So stay tuned, and we'll provide that information as it becomes available. Again, I want to thank all of our guests today for your stories and sharing your inspirations with us today. So thank you again, and I hope you have a wonderful morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and for my San Diego people, I want to wish you all a happy evening. This is unusual for us because we don't do programs in the evening, so this is a first. It's 7:28, and so typically the programs and workshops that we provide are between 8:30 and 5 p.m. So thank you all for staying up with us and for being here today, and we look forward to seeing you again. Take good care, everyone. Stay safe and well.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank you
Pearl.
for
Thank you.
doing the
Thank
workshop
you.
with
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you for all your comments.
Thank you.
Whatever you guys
Thank
do,
you.
congratulations.
Thank you,
Keep up the good
Fabian.
work.
Thank you so much.
Speaking to exercise, I do exercise very often. Also yoga. That's
What
what
a
I do.
gift this was.
Yeah, I know, wasn't it? It was extra special. So thank you for fitting it in your schedule, Sydney. And Diana and Jerry.
Thanks for having this.
You're
Rhonda,
welcome. Yeah.
this is Charlene.
Yes, Shirley.
There's another group for getting information about athletics and sports is Blind Athletes of America, and they do have a website.
Okay.
And
I'll look them
I
up.
grew up. I've never seen normal, and I used to play both basketball and soccer. I did it by sound. I kept track of the ball by sound, and I just kind of busted my to be able to be on the front lines for both basketball and soccer. If I could stay in the front line, I could keep track of where the ball was. If I got too far back, I could never tell when it was coming to me. So I totally went by sound, and I was just gutsy enough to play sports. I talked the school into letting me play volleyball, and I just knew I wasn't always going to hit it, and I wasn't. I also told the instructor I was not afraid to be hit by a ball, which was good, because I went to hit the ball up so people could get it across the net, and I was in the back row and went between my hands and hit my stomach and went over the net. But I was just gutsy enough to try things.
Yeah, and see, that's
So-
where that's where that courage comes in, you know, having the
Right.
courage to take a chance and give it a try. So thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that, Charlene, and I will add the Blind Athletes of America to the information that I share with everyone. So on that, we'll let that be the last note. Thank you all for coming. Hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Wanda.
you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks
Bye,
for the workshop,
Wanda.
guys.